The precept is a law, and wisdom is the act itself. Then the people follow the precept and try to live according to the precept. It is one of the most important laws in the world, that of intent. The soul, in order to deal with the precepts which we offer, must first be set free. Understanding is that you read the precept and you have it in your mind and you can deconstruct it in your mind, and when it comes time to act, your body still fights it. So I started teaching people communicate better and how to create better ways to understand each other, because sometimes just because we speak the same language doesn't mean we understand each other. It is their nature. It is their nature.
Subscribe and turn on notifications.
Today, we are going to be speaking about precepts and wisdom. There is a very small difference between the two, but it is very important. The precept is a law, sometimes passed as law. Nowadays, it's more of a saying, and wisdom is the act itself. The material roots of the precept and the doctrine is that a wise man lives the precept and the doctrine through experience. And then they write it down, and then it is used or sometimes even turned into a school. Then the people follow the precept and try to live according to the precept. Maybe putting it in their computer to remember something important. Maybe before they wake up, they say something assertive to themselves. But the truth of the matter is that it comes from the man who lived, or the woman who lived. So to start, we are going to talk about what I like to say is one of the most important laws in the world, that of intent. So let's see what Seneca has to say in this third volume. It will therefore be of no avail to give precepts unless you first remove the conditions that are likely to stand in the way of precepts. It will do no more good than to place weapons by your side and bring yourself near the foe without having your hands free to use those weapons. The soul, in order to deal with the precepts which we offer, must first be set free. So here he is saying that you have to have clear vision and you have to be completely free of preconceptions before you experience, to be able to absorb the precept, not just listen to it and not just repeat it. Suppose that a man is acting as he should. He cannot keep it up continuously or consistently, since he will not know the reason for so acting. Some of his conduct will result rightly because of luck or practice, but there will be in his hand no rule by which he may regulate his acts, and which he may trust to tell him whether that which he has done is right. One who is good through mere chance will not give promise of retaining such a character forever. Furthermore, precepts will perhaps help you do what should be done, but they will not help you do it in the proper way. And if they do not help you to this end, they do not conduct you to virtue. I grant you that. If warned, a man will do what he should, but that is not enough, since the credit lies not in the actual deed, but in the way it is done. When people do this for the purpose of attaining a legacy, they are like vultures waiting for carrion. The same act may be either shameful or honorable. The purpose and the manner make all the difference. Now each of our acts will be honorable if we declare allegiance to honor and judge honor and its results to be the only good that can fall to a man's lot, for other things are only temporarily good. So what do? What is the exercise? What are we supposed to do with this information? The only way to know, okay, I think I'm going to have to make a little parenthesis here. Understanding is that you read the precept and you have it in your mind and you can deconstruct it in your mind, but when it comes time to act, your body still fights it. Knowing is an internal state after experiencing the thing where you internally know that it is true. So you're relaxed, the state is calm, and you can actually take in the lesson for what it is. So you got to follow the precept to know, not to understand, to know. Seneca tells us, living the precepts and the doctrines. Conduct will not be right unless the will to act is right, for this is the source of conduct. Nor again can the will be right without a right attitude of mind, for this is the source of the will. Furthermore, such an attitude of mind will not be found even in the best of men unless he has learned the laws of life as a whole and has worked out a proper judgment about everything. And unless he has reduced facts to a standard of truth, peace of mind is enjoyed only by those who have attained a fixed and unchanging standard of judgment. The rest of mankind continually ebb and flow in their decisions, floating in a condition where they alternately reject things and seek them. Now, to make this clearer, how do you live your precepts and doctrines? First, you create a hypothesis based on something that you observe. Purely scientific process. You experiment with said hypothesis. You live and experience the doctrines so you can know, and then you arrive to liquid conclusions. Now, let me give you an example of something that I did. At first, I wanted to know, when I observed two people fighting, they were in a relationship, they were fighting, I told myself, why do I believe that they fight? So I had to experience it for myself. In this case, I had a fight with a friend. The moment was very opportunistic. I wanted to know what was happening to him at the time. So I came up with a hypothesis in where I said I think I may have done something to offend him, and then I stopped because I didn't know more. I went into the conversation and experimented with that hypothesis, holding it at first, but not staying true to it. As he kept communicating to me what the problem was, I lived and I experienced all that he was feeling, and then my conclusions started forming. But the conclusion was still liquid. It wasn't a solid fact, because then that makes you rigid. After that, I helped him explain further, and then we came to the same conclusion. And then we fixed our relationship, and then we went out for beers. Everything was fine. But then I still kept that liquid relationship of what creates this friction, and then I realized it was communication. We had a misunderstanding in the way that we communicated. So I started teaching people, communicate better and how to create better ways to understand each other, because sometimes, and here comes the precept that I discovered because of this, sometimes just because we speak the same language doesn't mean we understand each other. And I figured that out by experiencing, and I became that sage who had the experience to arrive at that wisdom. And now I share it, but I share it through these tactics so that you yourself can live it, so that you, instead of understanding, you can know. And now, some final words of Seneca. Let us unite the two, for indeed branches are useless without their roots. So precept is the branches, and the root is the wisdom itself. Branches are useless without their roots, and the roots themselves are strengthened by the growths which they have produced. Everyone can understand how useful the hands are. They obviously help us, but the heart, the source of the hands, growth and power and motion is hidden. And I can say the same thing about precepts. They are manifest, while the doctrines of wisdom are concealed. And as only the initiated know the more hallowed portion of the rites, so in philosophy the hidden truths are revealed only to those who are members and have been admitted to the sacred rites. But precepts and other such matters are familiar even to the uninitiated. For the final message. How do gods approach this matter? God is worshipped by those who truly know him. God seeks no servants. Of course not. He himself does service to mankind everywhere and to all he is at hand to help. He will never make sufficient progress until he has conceived a right idea of God, regarding him as one who possesses all things and allots all things and bestows them without price. And what reason have the gods for doing deeds of kindness? It is their nature. It is their nature. One who thinks that they are unwilling to do harm is wrong. They cannot do harm. They cannot receive or inflict injury, for doing harm is in the same category as suffering harm. The universal nature, all glorious and all beautiful, has rendered incapable of inflicting ill those whom it has removed from the danger of ill. The first way to worship the gods is to believe in the gods, the next to acknowledge their majesty, to acknowledge their goodness without which there is no majesty, also to know that they are supreme commanders in the universe, controlling all things by their power and acting as guardians of the human race. Even though they are sometimes unmindful of the individual, they neither give nor have evil, but they do chasten and restrain certain persons and impose penalties, and sometimes punish by bestowing that which seems good outwardly. Would you win over the gods? Then be a good man. Whoever imitates them is worshipping them sufficiently. Thank you for listening, and remember, be godlike.